I think we have another case of the flu here, Doctor.
Pin, it's very hard to hear a heartbeat when someone is talking.
Sorry, Doctor, but I'll wager this boy has a temperature of at least 104.
How much would you like to wager?
How about a wool sweater? It gets cold sitting here naked all the time.
It's a bet.
Don't run away.
Recording.
Don't run away. Don't run away. We are recording. It's episode 10. We're going straight into it.
No, episode 10.
Episode 10. We made it 10 episodes. That's a decade. A decade of episodes.
That's a decade of podcast episodes.
And
join us next week for our retirement episode.
It's
been 10 great episodes.
We need to get out while we can. You reach your peak.
Get out whilst we're hot.
Yeah, well, I'd say we're tepid.
Yeah, we're probably tepid.
I'd say we're very tepid right now. But we're getting there because, we've got an abundance of 0 emails to the inbox. But hey ho, in time that will come. So yes, this is episode 10 of the Dreadcast. We took a break because my life imploded and had to do some bits like move house and stuff. But we're back. And we're back with
an interesting film.
One little bit of thing I need to bring up before we get into today's episode. Today's episode was going to be X, Ty West's new horror film, but someone wasn't able to view it.
No, it was okay. In my defense,
putting you on blast.
I know. In my defense, the day I was going to go see it, I hadn't bought the tickets.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I didn't think there was anything going. But I was the day I had at work was so tiring that when I got home, I was like, I will probably be asleep in the theater.
I fully get that. I fully
understand. I was like,
no,
I'm good. And I kid you not, I was asleep pretty quickly that night.
Do you know what? I think with the rate that films go from the cinema to video on demand these days, folks, if you enjoy the Dreadcast, don't worry. Our X review will be coming probably in, I'd say, a month when it comes out. I think it'll probably be out in a month or so on video on demand. I remember the days when you'd have to wait at least 3 to 4 for it to come out on DVD or VHS.
Oh yeah.
And then it was a big deal. It'll be front at the front of HMV, like new releases. No, this is just like, it's dropped on video on demand. So we'll do X eventually. I did get to see it. A quick thing for me, it's a film of 2 halves. I enjoyed the first half more than the second half, and I'll leave it at that.
Oh, okay.
But I still think you'll enjoy it. It's not a bad film. I will not say it's a bad film at all. It's a good film, but
I'm looking forward to seeing it. But yeah, I'll wait to see because that way I can enjoy it probably more without someone chewing on popcorn or whatever.
Yeah, I was quite fortunate. The cinema I went to had like 4 rows. It was a really small screen, so I guess that certain cinemas have a couple of smaller screens for maybe films that are coming to the end of their run. They're not going to get much business in these films, and I think this was like the second to last night it was going to be showing, and there was maybe 4 people in this screen. It was great. It felt like being in a rich person's mansion. In their theater room,
a private cinema room.
Yeah, it was great. I much prefer. It felt a lot more intimate than a massive, like an opening night of a Marvel film. Where it's just filled. Cool. And it was really cool to see it like that. Today's episode, which this to me is more obscure than Mother's Day, in my opinion, because Mother's Day was a trauma film. You might not have heard of Mother's Day, but Trauma, very famous in the horror world. And it was just fun. This I had personally never heard of it. No. You had seen it and heard of it.
I had.
When did you first watch this film?
Ironically, it was when we were discussing watching. I believe it was Mother's Day. It was Mother's Day because I had to watch Mother's Day, and for some reason I kept not watching it. I don't know why. And it was getting so close to the recording date, and I was like, "Oh my god, I actually have to watch this."
Yeah.
And it popped up because I was watching Mother's Day. It said, "Oh, you might like this film." And I was like, "Okay, I'll watch that film." And I ended up binge watching the entire thing. And that's when I sent you a message saying, "Oh, we should do this film as well."
And you were right.
Oh yeah, it's a very bizarre film. People who have a fan of a certain type of thing probably ain't gonna. I mean, I have this fear. they're probably not going to enjoy it too much. But it's great because there is a tagline for. Someone did a review of this. I've just been, getting the information up on the screen.
Yes.
Not that I need it because I know my stuff.
Yeah,
clearly.
clearly.
And someone did a review of it, and a lot of the titles are, "Oh, this is a horror film that chances are you will have never heard of, but you have to watch."
Yeah,
and I was like,
completely. It's the
indeed
best
it
way
is.
to. It's the best way to view it because it doesn't. All right, let's get out of the way. The film we're talking about today is Pin, Pin, from
Pin,
1988,
a plastic nightmare.
and it doesn't feel like an indie film. It's clearly not.
No.
It's a studio film.
It has a few big names in it. Well,
It does.
names that became big.
It does,
I would
and
say.
the lead actor. Well, we'll say the lead actor
Leadish.
for Act 2 and 3 onwards.
Yeah.
I only clocked about halfway through. He is in one of my other favorite I think it's pretty well known. Cube. He is one of the leads in Cube, and I love
Yeah,
Cube.
he is.
His name being
Hewlett.
David Hewlett. Yes, he's great.
Yeah.
He's great.
Because it also has Terry O'Quinn, who plays the father, who of course went on to become known as Locke from Lost.
My favorite character from Lost.
Yes, he was.
Love
it is.
him.
I think that's the only. I don't think there was any other people in this film that. Oh no, David Gow. David Gow was in it as well.
It's not a big
He
cast.
was. It's not. It's quite a small cast considering because there's a lot of time jumps in this film.
Yes. Yep, there are.
Well, there's a couple. There's a couple in the first, like building up to. I think when they're 18, something like that. When the kids are 18, there's a few time jumps, and then it kind of like pans out after that.
So yeah,
But-
this film, it's bizarre is the right word. Like
Yes.
you'd seen it before me, and that's always fun when one of us has seen a film for because you're waiting on their reaction. I think you had watched Mother's Day before me, or I think,
No, you'd seen it first.
I
and
think I had,
I kept
yeah.
saying I was going to watch it.
yeah, but you had seen this before me, and I was okay. I'm really intrigued by this, and you told me it was about this. It had this doll as a prominent item in the
Anatomy
film.
doll.
Anatomy doll, yes. And throughout the film, I was watching it. I'm like, is that thing gonna come alive? Is that? We're watching the horror film. Is it gonna come alive? Is it? No. Is it now? No. And I'll be honest,
disturbing.
the film, it's disturbing, but I'll be honest, the film got depressing.
Yeah.
Throughout the
it's
latter
not-
half of it, just like you're watching the breakdown of a character slowly,
Oh yeah.
very slowly,
Massively. It's. I thought that as well. So obviously, Pin. Now, before we get into Pin, actually in the film, you find out the anatomy doll is nicknamed Pin.
Yes,
Or I believe its full name is Pinocchio, which of course is kind of quite interesting, considering that. Well, when we get into the overall review, you'll find out why it's quite funny. It's called Pinocchio.
yeah.
But the whole time I was watching this, again, like you, I was like, "Is it him?" It's like, no, it's not. No,
I think it's because of how
No, hang on.
lifelike it looks.
Oh, it's when he gets the covering. I was like, no,
yeah.
no. That's
this
when
is-
my phobia kind of kicked in. I was like, I'm getting a bit creeped out here now.
The doll itself, which we'll get to when we'll start the review in a second. The doll itself, visually, just Google it. We will set up this video podcast soon.
Or check out the Instagram post.
Check out the Instagram post. So I'm gonna look at it now while I describe it, right? Because
It's
it's so human-like. It looks like
really
a skinned human. It doesn't look like a comical one you'd see in a school. It is really detailed and it's just.
I've just
weird.
noticed that when he gets the covering.
Yeah.
I've just noticed how similar he looks to the main character. I've just noticed that now.
Yes, he does.
I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that when I watched this. Oh, that's
well. I finished this film.
Well,
today.
actually, you did actually. Yes, you sent me a message saying I'm watching it at lunch. I'm like, okay. I didn't realize that. That makes it more interesting considering when we get into it now. Oh.
Yeah, and depressing when you really look
It is.
into
It's
it.
very, very sad. Which, to be fair, I wouldn't class it as a pure horror film. It's more of a psychological thriller.
It's
I would
not a
say.
pure horror. No, it's not terrifying.
No, it's really. There's no jump scares in this.
It's maybe a little bit scarier than Mother's Day, but that's not saying much. Mother's Day wasn't that scary.
It was not. filmed to be. I mean, Mother's Day was kind of campy.
Yes,
not campy,
it
a bit. It was. It kind of felt like it knew it was not that good.
Yes,
well, not
yeah.
serious. This has been filmed to be serious.
Yeah, you're right with the psychological thing, yeah, it's a very slow, methodical psychological horror. And like
It's a bit of a slow. No, it's not really a slow burn actually. If you think about it, it does kind
It's
of
not a slow
kick
burn.
off pretty quickly.
had me hooked all the way through. I'd say there were no parts that really had to slow down, but the film opens, which you then discover the opening scene of the film. Once you finish the film, you realise that's actually the present.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
No, we mentioned the brief time skips.
There's a
but
few.
the opening scene is actually potentially the final scene. If you chopped them up and put that at the end, that would still fit.
Yeah.
It would.
Oh, it would do. Yeah.
It would. Yeah. So opening scene, four young kids. They look quintessential 80s Stand By Me.
Oh,
group
they
of kids
really
that
are.
are going on an adventure. They're in the countryside and they're just camping out, sort of hiding outside this mansion, and they can see this.
Parents have told them, leave the house, don't come back till dinner.
They see this figure sitting in an attic window in this big mansion, and they're like, "What is it? What is it?" And then one of them goes up to try and see what it is. Yeah.
Climbs up the oh, what is that?
Trellis, like a trellis.
That's the
on
word.
side,
A trellis.
Yeah.
Climbs up the trellis, gets to the window, and you just hear this voice just going, "Get out!"
Yeah.
And I think the kid falls off the trellis and lands. He doesn't fall very far.
No.
But he either falls or he scarpers pretty quickly, as you probably would do.
Now, this actually was. I thought about this throughout the film. It sort of clicked in my head, but now I look back to it. This is very Mother and Norman Bates-esque.
Oh,
house
yes.
at the top of a little hill, just a little hill, not a big psycho house hill.
No.
And there's just a figure in the window looking down. There's not moving. It's actually, you can see it's sat, and that's the eeriness of it. It's just a lingering figure looking down at you, and that's what these little boys are interested in. And
I didn't even twig that.
yeah,
Ah.
well, that's I started tweaking the similarities between Mother and Norman throughout the film, which we'll get into. But so yeah, that's just the opening scene. Just to give it gives you a little teasers. Okay, there's something with this house. There's a creepy figure in the house. Yeah,
Let's get into this.
let's get into it.
Okay, interesting. So after we move away from the creepy figure scaring the kids away, although as you would do, I mean technically the kid is breaking and entering, so I would be scaring them off as well, I suppose. We are taken into the office of the doctor, Dr. Frank Linden, who is played by Terry O'Quinn. And we're also introduced straight away to Pin, the anatomy doll that he has in his office.
Yeah.
And this is also where we learn that Pin is a nickname because the anatomy doll is also called Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Which is very clever.
It is.
Because his children, Leon and Ursula. Now, I would describe the father's relationship with them as away from Pin. He's not really. He's more of a, don't talk to me unless I need you for something. He's a bit stricter than most fathers, I think he is.
They are very. I don't want to say the term poshos. They're very strict,
studious,
very to the point parents. They're posh mansion, fancy furniture.
The mother's quite a germaphobe.
She is. She's always cleaning.
Oh yeah.
And the kids, you get the feeling that the kids had a very restricted life.
Oh yeah, very much so.
They are
very much
so tight and so close. They don't really have friends. Parents, they do exactly what their parents do, and that is it.
Yeah, because wasn't it? It's that we find they're very. Whilst yes, they are their parents. It's a very cold. There's not much love going from the parents to the kids.
No.
And we learn this because Dr. Frank Linden, before I think the kids go to sleep, he said, if they, I think it was, what was it? If Ursula said like her 2 times table or something.
So Ursula is the younger of the two.
Oh,
wait,
yes, Ursula's the youngest.
Wait, they're not twins, are they? No, I think she's a bit younger. So he asked, it's before they go into bed, he asked Ursula, Sorry, this is the scene just quickly before we see the doctor's office and we meet Pin.
Oh, it
This
is
is back
yes.
at the house before they're going to bed. I know his name isn't Locke, but I'm going to keep calling him Locke.
For
John
the
Locke.
purpose of this video, Locke is
Yeah.
Locke is Dr. Linden.
Dr. Lin. I call him Dr. Lin. So he asked Ursula to count to 10 because she's younger,
was
so
it.
it's hard to her. Then he asked Leon to count back from 100 by sevens,
Oh, that was it. Yes.
which is kind of a shitty move because seven doesn't go into 100, so he's gonna screw him over when he gets down to the end.
I mean, just counting back from 100 in sevens is not easy anyway. I mean, I tried it when
So
I
did
did
I.
this, and
So
I was
did
like,
I.
no, this is impossible. It was like,
Yeah.
you're a bit of a dick there, Dad. It's got to be
And he
said.
fails. He
He
fails.
does, yeah.
So he doesn't
So-
get a kiss and a hug goodnight.
Oh, he doesn't, does he?
From
Yeah.
dear old daddy.
Ursula gets a bit of love from the father, and it's like, yeah, you can go and
He got it
Watch-
easy.
you watch half an hour of TV or whatever it was that she could do. And Leon was like, no, right, you go to bed and you have to count. You have to do this again tomorrow night
Yeah.
to get it right. And you can see from that point in time, in the back of Leon's mind, I don't know how old he is at this point in time. He's
10,
around the 10 mark.
Yeah.
You
maybe
can see in
8
the
or
back of
10.
his mind already. He's like, well, my dad hates me, and I don't really like my sister because she gets away with everything.
Yeah.
But yes, then we get to the doctor's office,
Yeah.
which is where we meet Pin, also aka Pinocchio, this anatomically correct dummy that is life size, sits in a chair. I must admit, if I went to this dude's office, I'd be like, I'm sorry, can you cover that up? Because it is freaky.
I can't even imagine that being in a doctor's office. It just don't. If you don't want to watch a film, folks, just Google Pin the film, and all you have to do is Google those 3 images and /movie. You will see this.
Unless you have a
It's
fear
so
of
weird.
mannequins, I wouldn't recommend it.
It's so
But-
weird.
It's great about this because it's an anatomically correct doll. Oh, it's a male doll. We should add to
Yes,
this.
it is.
Dr. Linden, every now and then his kids will come to his office, and it's using Pin that he teaches them about, growing up, changes in bodies and things, but he does so via ventriloquism. So he
Yeah.
makes it seem like Pin, aka Pinocchio the puppet, is actually talking to him. And it's a really cool dynamic here because when he's Pin, shall I say, he's a lot more nurturing to his kids.
Yeah.
He's a lot more nurturing. He's a lot more playful. When he's not Pin, you're like, you're just a dick, aren't you?
He's barely a father
And-
figure.
He's barely a father figure.
Yeah.
But then when I was watching it, I was like, is it because when he's not trying to, teach his kids things via this puppet, does he not really know how to be a father? And
Maybe.
when he's
Yeah.
playing Pin, to hit Pin, he can get everything out through Pin.
Maybe
I thought it was really cool.
an easier way for him to express his emotions through this imaginary person, this
Yeah.
figure, rather than I don't know. The whole it's not a toxic masculinity thing, but
No.
he probably has never said he loves his son, but
No, probably
Pin,
not.
But Pin probably has.
Yeah, Pin has
You
probably,
know, it's
encouraged
probably-
his kids.
It's just that little thing of having Pin makes it so much easier to do that.
Yeah, and
But
it's
the ventriloquism part
yeah.
though. So if you imagine table in center of this doctor's office, the kids are sitting
Yeah,
looking at Pin on one wall. Behind the kids is where the doctor's standing. And he's
yes.
doing the ventriloquism. When the camera focuses in on Lyndon's face, I would have liked a bit more subtle lip movement,
Yeah, or like his Adam's apple is moving a
to
bit.
show he's trying the ventriloquism, but his lips are just tiny bit moving, like you'd see on stage. You know, stage ventriloquists.
Yeah.
They're still never 100% perfect with the lips not
Yeah.
moving, but they were not moving in this, and it kind of gave like, hang on a minute, is Pin actually talking?
I did wonder that.
It
I did
took me
wonder
a
if it was like a
while
recording.
It took me a while in the film to really realize this was ventriloquism.
Yeah. It's not really, to be fair, the fact it's ventriloquism, it's not really made aware until it's much later in the film, when it's kind of spoken about between the
Yeah.
two kids for the first time. But initially when I saw it, I did think that the Doctor recorded stuff, and he was playing it through a tape player that was behind
Okay.
Pin or something, and it was like, oh, Pin is talking to you. It's actually me. You just can't see the tape going.
Oh, my horror brain went straight to, okay,
It's-
we've got the idea already. This is a very tight knit family that
Yeah.
only they can actually talk to this possessed doll or something. That's where my brain went straight away.
It's
Because-
not actually an anatomy doll. It's actually a skinned man.
Yeah,
They've
well,
just-
pretty
they've
much,
put in
yeah.
this weird position.
Because of the fact his lips weren't moving. So that's
Yeah.
ventriloquism didn't come into my brain straight away because he wasn't doing anything.
That is true. Ah, okay. Well,
So I was
fair
like,
enough.
okay, this doll looks so fucking creepy that it actually is a creepy doll that can talk back to them.
That would have been an interesting horror film. I would admit that. I would have what maybe they should do. Oh well, they did kind of do a film like that, which was Dead Silence, which had
He did.
ventriloquism.
Yeah, right. And that was a proper ventriloquist doll.
Yeah, that was. I did learn a weird fact the other day. It was what was it? There was like some ventriloquist, like in the 18th century, years ago, and he always had this puppet he carried around with him doing ventriloquism.
Is it Gabbo?
I can't remember his name, but basically after this dude died, they went, "Oh well, we'll bury him with his puppet." And then when they got hold of the puppet, they were like, "Oh my god, it's actually a child." He carried around the body of a dead child as a puppet, and I was like, "Oh, that's nasty." So yeah, there you go. Bit of
How did that not smell?
I don't know, but there you go. Anyway, that's beside the point.
Here we go,
Back to the
folks.
film.
Come to the Dreadcast for dead child ventriloquist
Check
stories.
out my TikTok, Tainted Souls, for more creepy facts. There you go.
Yes, he'll be posting the picture of that soon.
Yeah,
God.
probably. But back to the film. So we get to learn a bit more about Leon's kind of upbringing. Basically, because the mother is a bit of a germaphobe, they're a tight-knit family. The kids are rarely allowed outside the house. I think there's a scene where one of them goes outside the house and they walk mud into the house.
Yeah,
and the
just a little
mum
bit.
Goes absolutely apeshit. She's like, "Where is this coming from?"
I think that is actually because we flash forward in time now. Leon's a little bit older, and I think
he's
it's
a
he's
teenager
like
now, early
12,
teens.
13, 14, between 12 and 14
Yeah.
maybe. And I think it's to this point because at this part when he's between early teens, there's not much. We
No,
go from
nothing much happens.
kid, early teens, and then we
Yes.
get into the grown up Leon
Yeah,
and everyone.
and then he's 18 at that point.
Yeah, but this middle part of Leon is like you said, he brings in the mud, and it's a tiny bit, and she loses it.
Oh yeah, she goes absolutely mad.
Yeah,
And it's I don't think it's not the father, it's definitely the mother. The mother, whilst the dad's out, the mother is very much like, no, you have school. That's it. You're not allowed to go outside. You're not allowed to play with other kids. You're not allowed to bring kids home. You cannot do anything. Effectively, she's very socially not awkward. Anxious. I want to say socially anxious. I don't think it's
that's
the
a
right
good
word.
way. Yeah.
She doesn't like outsiders, pretty much.
What's the is it agoraphobia? Is that the one where you're afraid to leave your house? I think.
Yeah, I think that is. I think it's agoraphobia, where you're afraid of open spaces or something like that. We'll double check that. And it's because of this that Leon's only friend, only friend, as we find out, is Pin. And he.
Yep.
Now, it's got to be said, the Doctor, I think it's around one of these scenes, he mentions to his children that. Oh no, was it at this point in time? Yes, I believe it is. At some point in time, between him becoming 10 and 13, he tells his two children that they're not allowed in his office without Pin. Because to the Doctor, obviously to Dr. Linden, it's like, well, if they're there without me, Pin's not going to talk.
The charade will be over.
The charade will be over because I'm not there to do it. However, he doesn't know that Leon has actually been going to his office.
Yeah.
And he talks to Pin. And we, at this point in time, get to learn that he hears Pin talking back. Not because of the father, but because he's mentally unwell.
To be fair, because of his father, because
Oh, yeah.
he's been hearing this doll talk back to him for so many years. So that's probably planted into his brain that, okay, this is going to talk back no matter what. My brain is just subconsciously controlling the conversation now.
Yeah. However, it's interesting because this doesn't happen. So Ursula doesn't believe that Pin is real because, again, it's a very small scene where the doctor is making Pin talk, and Ursula actually kind of glances round at the doctor, and he looks at her, and you can see. I think it's that point in time you can see him
a little bit
slightly doing it, and that's when she goes, "Oh, it's my dad," and she goes, "Oh, he is." She clocks it, and actually, I think at that point in time you could see that. To Ursula, it's like, oh, our father is trying to connect with us, but if he has to do it through Pin, she's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But she knows that Pin's not real. To Leon, however, he's like, oh my god, this thing is amazing. This is my only friend. And he often sneaks in to talk to Pin, which, I mean, just sneaking into a doctor's office is probably not a clever idea anyway. Lots of dangerous things in there.
It's not. And at the one time we do see him sneak in at this young teenage, before he sneaks in, he's walking to the doctor's office, he's walking through town, and he's stopped by, I guess it's two, I wouldn't say friends, two people he knows from, two kids he knows from school. And
yes, two school kids.
Want to play soccer or something. I think it's soccer.
Yes.
And he's like, no, I can't, because of the whole mother being like, nope, no friends, no social life. And you can kind of see a little bit in his face that he's like, I wish I could, but I shouldn't, because he's weak. Because Pin's made him weak.
It would have been so great if he'd gone, yeah, go on then. Credits roll.
Yeah, that would have been the end of the film.
Leon went on to live a happy life.
But he doesn't go. He goes to the doctor's office. He sneaks in.
Now,
this was probably the weirdest part of the film, and that says a lot about this film, because this bit made no sense, in my opinion.
I must admit, I watched this, and I was like, I don't get offended by anything.
No. So why? Why did this happen?
I was watching this scene, I was like, I feel slightly uncomfortable. I'm not sure what I'm watching here.
This is the true definition of sex doll.
It really is. Oh my god.
He sneaks into the doctor's room, and he tries talking. He has a little conversation with Pin. Here's some rustling outside, and it's a nurse coming in. So just before the nurse comes in, he hides behind a screen.
Yes.
Now, said nurse has got the horn. She is a horny nurse. She needs some action, apparently. So what else is in the room? A human-sized man doll. And she goes
sex
over.
Dolls were first invented in 1908. Sorry, I just had to look it up.
That's 80 years before this film.
Yeah, there you go.
And they weren't this detailed.
No, they.
So she goes over to Pin. She starts caressing Pin. She makes Pin caress her. She picks Pin up.
The arms can move.
Yeah, they can.
I forgot about that.
And her and Pin end up on the table in the middle of the room.
Yep.
Pin starts going to town on her, but not by Pin. Does she rape Pin?
I guess that would be. Well, I guess to poor Leon who's watching, she probably did.
Can you rape a sex doll?
Well, no. I mean,
oh my god, it's just so
you probably
weird.
Can't. But for the purpose of Leon's mind, who believed Pin was alive,
exactly,
she was probably raping him.
Yeah, that's the weirdest part.
Yeah.
So she's laying on the table with Pin on top, but obviously she's doing all the movement. And Leon is watching this, and like you just said, to Leon, Pin is real.
Oh yeah. This is you see it in his face. You can see that he's watching this, and it is just traumatizing the crap out of him.
It is. It traumatized the crap out of me. Well.
It did, yes. Mm.
So I'm glad we breezed past the awkward sex doll scene, because it really was, I think, I see what they were trying to do, especially with Leon watching, but it just felt out of place with the rest of the film, in my opinion.
It is a bit weird. I mean,
you didn't need it.
No, it doesn't really. Considering what happens after this, the nurse bit doesn't really need to be there, because well, we'll find out when we get there why Leon's been a bit funny with things.
Well, what I have in my notes for the next part is actually something I think you brought up earlier, which I think we may have got a bit confused with. So the scene,
okay.
the scene we talked about where the doctor in the doctor's office and he's behind someone talking to Pin, talking as Pim. That's not the kids. That's another kid. Because what I've got here is that after this scene, we then go to Leon and Ursula just laying in the same bed, and Ursula is looking at like an adult mag, a nudie mag.
Oh,
and
yes.
she's talking about this the breast, these massive breasts on this woman, this model, and she's like, I didn't really note down what she was saying, but it was something like, do you think mine will be like that?
Yeah,
like,
it's a really
it was really
awkward.
awkward.
To ask a brother.
Really awkward.
Well,
And they were having a casual conversation about this nudie mag, and their mum catches them with it. Now, for their punishment, they get taken to Pin, and that is where.
Yeah, that's it.
That's where the situation happens, and that is where I think I didn't note it down, but I believe that is where Ursula looks around and is like, "Hang on, what's this, Dad? You're doing this?" But Leon is still so focused on Pin.
Oh yeah, Leon's visits to Pin are like his Saturday nights. Effectively, he lives to see Pin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. To be fair, I mean, I saw this film a few weeks ago now, so I've probably forgotten which order things come in.
But yeah, that's cool. Now that is the end of, like I said,
childhood.
It's very short bit of childhood. That now we flash forward to 18-year-old.
Yeah, so Ursula, I think she's 16.
Yes,
she's
she was
a
a bit
few
younger.
years younger. Yeah, so I think she's 16.
Mm.
And I can't remember how exactly, but I think it's prom night. Oh, it's prom night. That's it. Because Leon, for some reason at this point in time, I don't know why, but the parents are kind of like, all right, well, I guess we'll let you go to prom.
Yeah, after all their attitude beforehand, they can go to prom.
They're a bit more, I think still they're like, you can go to prom, but you're coming back at
got to get your grades, keep your grades up. Keep your grades up to get to a good school.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Ursula obviously is like, oh, shit, I've got to enjoy this because obviously it's like a rare night of freedom, and of course she meets this boy that she likes, and she goes, all right, well, let's end this night with a bang, literally speaking, and I think it's like I don't know if Leon watches. He's nearby somewhere doing his weird Leon, I'm going to watch people having sex thing.
He's watching people have sex thing. He doesn't do that, but he looks like the sort of guy that would do that. He did do it with the nurse. You're right. He starts. It's actually you see him in school, and some bullies have written something on his. I can't remember what it says. It's something about an easy lay. And
it's about his sister, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we go to the prom, and he's just walking outside, and he sees a car shaking, very comically shaking, and he knows it's Ursula, and he fucking loses it because he a few things. They nailed the casting for him for a mini John Locke. He looks like a young Terry O'Quinn who plays the Doctor.
Does it, doesn't he?
He looks great. I think he's a fantastic choice for casting, and he is clearly becoming a young version of his dad.
Yeah.
Because of how tight the brother and sister were. They're so isolated. You don't want to. You're hoping it's not, but you're thinking, oh God, if Ursula is anything like Leon, there could be the whole inbred storyline in the future. Thankfully, there wasn't. But
thankfully, there wasn't.
They are so tight knit. Like no one else.
That comes from the fact that neither of them were allowed any friends growing up.
Yeah.
Obviously, which is when Ursula got to 16 and she's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I've had enough. She is definitely, Leon is very much, it's ingrained in his head. It's like, I cannot have friends. I can't go out. I have to go to school. I have to go home. Everything's by the book with him. Whereas Ursula is very much no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
That's not the way I want to live. And so, Leon, loses his shit when he sees his
really does.
Getting busy in the car.
Yeah.
And I can't remember how I think he tries to stop it. I think he gets punched for his troubles by this bloke.
No. He yanks the guy off her out of the car and kicks the shit out of him before he's restrained by some other guys, and he's shouting and screaming. He loses it. just the fact he doesn't want his sister doing that sort of stuff, because he also mentions that, you know, very dated. He mentions that, you know, he, alludes to her the fact that she's been sleeping around. Who gives a fuck? Do what you want.
Yep.
That's modern motto. Do that. But back then, people that they are, they definitely don't believe in that.
No.
And Leon is way against it. Way against it. And Ursula's doing all of it he can just to have some sort of life.
Probably due to his childhood trauma of seeing the nurse getting busy with Pin.
Probably with that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a big part of it. But evidently, we don't know it's this guy that she was having fun with in the car, but evidently a couple of weeks later, weeks maybe to a month, I'm not really sure the time frame.
It's probably between 4 weeks to after that.
Yeah, whenever, I'm not sure the exact time frame you know you're pregnant, but she tells Leon she's pregnant.
Yes.
He's not happy about that.
No. Basically, Ursula is of the mind, it's, okay, well, I am, and it's like, I don't really want to tell her. She doesn't want to tell her parents, because the strict parents that they are, A, the mum be like, well, this is why I told you never to go out, and B, because her father is a doctor.
Yeah.
So, needless to say, he's probably like, here's of the mind. It's like, right, well, we have one thing, you know, there's only one course of action for this. Leon, however, is like, well, you have to tell Dad. And it's like, as I think to Ursula, it's probably, I think when he says you have to tell Dad, I think she's like, oh, yeah, I should probably tell Dad. She doesn't want to tell Mum, because Mum, again, would probably go ballistic.
She'll get the vacuum cleaner out.
Yeah, she probably would. I think her dad, she knows that her dad is like, okay, right, well, Dad can deal with this discreetly.
Oh, I just remembered this bit then.
Yeah.
When they go to the doctor's surgery.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I forgot.
So Ursula goes, I don't think I think she's around about 15, 16, because I'm fairly certain she's underage.
Yeah.
Which, you know, if you're underage, that's a no-no.
A big netty no-no.
Big netty no-no. And I think Leon is made to wait outside.
Yeah.
Yes, Leon is 18 at this point. Ursula's 15. And Leon's told, right, Dad's like, right, stay outside. And obviously Ursula goes in, and the dad's like, right, well, let's get this over with. And of course, so he carries out an abortion, which fucking wrecks Ursula mentally to pieces. She's a bit of a train wreck at this point in time.
Yeah, who wouldn't be when your dad's giving you an abortion?
Yeah, that'd be.
I don't care if he's a doctor and it's professional.
You'd be like, I will just get one of your colleagues.
Anyone. Get that nurse back in. She knows how to have a good time.
Yeah, and Ursula is obviously, you know, well, she's a bit distraught. She's a bit upset, but I think you could see in the long run, she's like, okay, at least it's done now.
Yeah.
And I think her personality changed at that point. She goes from being this, I'm going to go out, I'm going to literally rebel as much as I can. She becomes a bit more, okay, I'll still go and see people, but I'm not going to go too far.
Yeah, she
calms down. And that kind of changes her a bit. She calms down a bit, yeah. She's like, okay, the rebel phase is, let's get rid of it. And then we skip to probably, which is the most pivotal point of this scene. Well, not the scene, the film. This is when the film kind of cranks up into its second half and really puts its foot down on the ambiguity is if Pin is real or not, and B, just how mentally unhinged Leon is getting at this point in time.
Yeah.
And I can't remember how it exactly is, but basically, Dr. Linden...
I'll correct you, don't worry.
Okay, good. That's good. So Dr. Linden, he's going away to a big conference, and I think what he's doing is he's going to go back to his office to pick up case studies, because it's like, right, well, you know, I've got to do this big presentation. And he arrives at his office, and he hears talking. He hears Leon talking. So, of course, naturally, he's like, well, who on earth is Leon talking to? Because, you know, he's not allowed in there. And as he goes into his office, he hears Pin speaking to Leon. And this is the point in time when Dr. Linden twigs that Leon is not actually stable. He then realizes, oh shit, my son is not mentally well. Because he, over time, even though Leon doesn't know that it's ventriloquism, he's managed to perfect it
Yeah.
And when he believes Pin is talking to him, he's actually mimicking the ventriloquism to have, that back and forth conversation. And Dr. Linden thinks, right, okay, this is not good. And
We've got to
decides,
get
I'm
rid of
going
him.
to he goes, I'm going to get rid of Pin. I'm going to take him away. And so this conference is at a medical school, and he goes, right, I'm going to leave it there. We have to take Pin away from Leon. And when I get back, we've got to deal with Leon because this is a massive.
Yeah, we're done with Pin now because of this. I can't use him anymore. I've got to go.
And so Dr. Linden and his wife, I think she's literally only credited as Mrs. Linden. She doesn't actually have a first name.
Did I get a name? Hang on a minute.
Did she have a name? Basically, as you're looking up, I'll keep talking.
No,
So
I did not
they
get the name.
I think it's just Mrs. Linden. I think
Mrs.
she's
Linden.
the only character in this film who doesn't have a name.
I
First
have
name,
the
which is a bit
IMDb up.
sad.
I have the IMDb.
Does she have a name?
She is credited as Mrs. Linden, and her
Mrs.
IMDb
Linden?
profile does not even have a headshot.
It does not know. I just realised though, do you know who did the voice of Pin? Another very famous name. Pin was actually played by Jonathan Banks, who played Mike on Breaking Bad.
No, oh my god, really?
Yeah, that's who played the voice of Pin, Jonathan Banks. I was like,
Love
oh, that's cool.
Mike was so good.
He was very good. So back to the story. So Dr. Linden takes Pin. I don't know. I think he has a back and forth. I think it's a slight argument with Leon, or basically Leon disappears and Dr. Linden takes Pin away, puts him in the car, and they head off.
Yeah.
And now he puts Pin. He doesn't put him in the boot, which personally I would do.
Yeah.
He sticks him in the back seat of the car, right in the viewpoint of the rear view mirror.
No.
Oh, does he not?
No, monsieur.
I'm being corrected.
So, I'm taking the baton. He lays Pin down. Now, because he is so panic and distraught at what's happened, and the fact they're late for this conference, he's rushing, he's speeding, he's panicking, he's looking at all his mirrors, he's looking at his back mirror. He takes a sharp turn because he misses a turn. As he takes a sharp,
is going,
she's
appropriately mad.
Yeah. As he takes said sharp turn, the force of the car throws Pin up. That's what he says. But in my eyes, again, like you just said, we're watching. Fuck me, is that doll alive? Did he just do that?
Yeah.
Is the doll about to kill these people?
Yeah. This is
still wondering.
This is the great bit. This is when the film starts to go, oh, wait, hang on. Was Pin like you said, was Pin really talking to him? And was the doctor like, oh shit, this was my voice, but the doll's now alive? Oh crap.
And I like that this is probably maybe half hour, 45 minutes in, maybe half hour, 40 minutes in.
It's probably about that.
And you're still wondering. So Pin has been set up by the force of the car, and he keeps seeing him in his rearview mirror, and he tilts the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
Don't look at him. And then he looks back at the rearview mirror, and you can still see him. So you're thinking, shit, has Pin moved again?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't remember that.
He keeps looking. He brakes suddenly for some reason. Pin,
I think it's Mrs. Linden's yelling at him to slow down.
Yeah, Pin, because again, the force of the car makes Pin lunge over his shoulder, basically like where the handbrake and gear stick would be on like a European car, which then makes you think, did Pin move? But no, it's the car. They crash on a very nicely placed ramp, which flips the car.
Yeah, they do.
And I didn't expect them to die. Both parents die.
Yeah, I didn't expect that.
No.
But both parents die. And I can't remember how, but the police turn up and they brought Ursula and Leon along, which, gotta be honest, is a bit weird. You know, I don't know why they would bring the kids along. That's a bit off. Yeah. But they do anyway. To be fair, it's done in this for plot reasons. And so obviously they tell them, your parents are dead. They're dead on arrival. And Ursula is sitting in the back of the police car. She hasn't got out of the car. She's in the back. She's crying. She's been told her parents are dead. Leon is not there. Leon has vanished from the police car. And Leon has actually gone to the crash site because he's well aware that his father took Pin. And he's more, at this point in time, this is how mentally unstable he's getting. He's more concerned for Pin than his parents actually dying. And this is where you kind of see the relationship. It's like, well, if Pin is alive, he's got so into his head that to Leon, it's like, you're more like family than my actual family.
Yeah, he's besotted by Pin.
Oh, yeah. Anything that potentially could harm Pin or take Pin away from him, it's like, no. Pin is here. He's got to stay with me. And so, yeah, he takes... I don't know how no one noticed he was missing, or the fact that he managed to sneak into a crime scene. That's just glossed over, for sake of the plot point.
Yeah.
But pretty much, Leon then he takes Pin back to the house, and he puts Pin into the house without Ursula knowing. And of course, they have the parents' funeral, and then when they get back,
it's a very quick funeral scene.
They
gloss over it very quickly.
Like, parents have died. Aunt's like, oh yeah, do you want me to come live with you? It's like,
yes, we meet
good.
Aunt Dorothy. Now she's actually a key character for 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, she's the sister of the mother.
Yeah, and she wants there to be a new woman. A womanly figure in the house.
Someone to look after these two kids, even though they get over their grief super fucking quick. Let's be honest. They have the funeral, they get home like, so how about some pizza? It's like, let's get some pizza. All right, yeah, woo! And they're having a whale of a time eating pizza.
They start to realize how their restrictions are gone. They can do whatever they want now. They can live a somewhat exciting life.
That's true. They seem to enjoy it for a little bit. They enjoy for a little bit. They enjoy having this freedom. Obviously, Leon is like, well, I'm the older brother. I'll kind of take care of you. So I think they basically just order pizzas because they don't really need money. I think they get a nice big inheritance.
Yes.
However, Aunt Dorothy then turns up on their doorstep.
Yeah.
And suffice to say, Leon's not terribly happy because to him it's like, I'm looking after my sister. We don't really need you.
This is my territory now.
Exactly. However, Aunt Dorothy moves in, and one of the first things she says to Ursula is like, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you go and get a job? And she encourages Ursula to go. I think Ursula says that she had an interview at a library or something.
That's a bit later on, yeah.
Oh, okay. But basically, she encourages Ursula to get out into the world. She's a young woman. She needs to go out, start earning money. She's kind of like the opposite of her sister. Her sister, the mother was like, "Don't go anywhere." The sister's like, "No, keep going. Go out and about. It's great. Go have some freedom." Leon, on the other hand, is like, "No, I will take care of her.
Me and Pin will take care of her.
Me and Pin will take care of her." Yes, he doesn't mention Pin by name.
At this point, Pin has been dressed up. Pin is in a wheelchair and has a suit put on him. I don't believe it's just a suit.
Is that?
Yeah.
Yes, it's just a suit right now.
It's just a suit, and he's in a wheel. So we're talking a skinned, anatomically correct doll, life size, put in a wheelchair in his dead father's suit.
Yep.
Picture that, folks. Yeah. Basically, picture a skinned human in a suit in a wheelchair. How's that for you?
Or you could just Google it. It's on Google Images. I kid you not.
It really is.
It really is.
But I think it's at this point as well, because there's a scene where you see Leon talking to Pin as well.
That's
you have
just
to keep
before, I think.
You have to keep using quotation marks when you say talking to, because he's not really. This is where schizophrenia popped into my mind.
Yes.
This is where
schizophrenia what's the other one?
Bipolar.
Something like that.
Split personality disorder.
That's the one.
Yeah, this is where schizophrenia popped into my mind more so than earlier thinking the doll's alive. This is where I started to think, okay, I don't think the doll's alive because really we've not actually seen it move apart from when the car moved it itself. By seeing the way Leon is acting, I think he's messed up. So.
By the way, I'll give a shout out to Jonathan Banks, because Jonathan Banks has a deep gravelly voice. He said when he plays Pin, his voice is nothing like his own. It's really high pitched and slightly squeaky. So fair play to Jonathan Banks. He pulled off an epic voice for this. It's got to be said.
Maybe he's smoked and drunk a lot in the 30 years after it. I don't know.
Yeah, he just so either that or like, oh, we need you to sound like a weird like skinned human. It's like, what does that sound like? I don't know, high and squeaky. It's like, yeah, pass me that helium bottle. It's like,
Did you say we need you to sound like a skinned human? What does a skinned human sound like? Probably in pain.
yeah, exactly. You scream.
Well,
a lot when you're high
you
and-
wouldn't have any lips.
Oh, yeah, no.
You'd sound like Gary Oldman from Hannibal.
Oh yeah, I did. I'm not. I'm going to stay away from my horror TikToks because I had something else. But actually, that it would have been a great thing for Martyrs. Well, I'll save it for Martyrs when we do a Martyrs review.
When we do a Martyrs review, yeah.
It'll be a great little thing for Martyrs. I'll probably forget by then, but never mind. Anyway, so yes, so the scene before we see, who is it? Pin going around in his wheelchair is we see Leon having a discussion with Pin. Leon at this point in time is under the impression that Aunt Dorothy has come in and she's influencing Ursula. It's like, you have to go out and do this. You don't need your brother. You don't need me. You don't go. And of course, to Leon, who's been raised, not braised. The braised is weird. Raised to be, you're a tight knit family. You stay together no matter what. It's
family is everything.
Family, yeah. The saw is everything. The pin is everything.
It's that Fast and the Furious mentality. Family before everything.
I got family.
This is the OG Fast and Furious. This is family.
Oh yeah, just without the cars.
Yeah.
And so he has a chat with Pin, and what Pin says is, right, well, there's only one outcome. The aunt's got to go.
She gotta
and
go.
But it's very subtle though.
Yeah.
All Leon hears Pin saying is, well, the aunt has to go.
Yeah.
And what happens next is basically Leon effectively terrifies the aunt to death.
This was a great scene. This was a great scene.
She's on medication. I think she is. She's got heart medication or something.
The camera slowly pans to her bedside table, and you see some medication. You don't see what it is, but you see medication. Then it pans to her in bed, but it stays on her. But you hear, quote, Pin talking, saying, I didn't write it down, but it's along the lines of, like, I'm behind you or something.
Yeah.
It's really straightforward, like, I'm behind you. And she's freaking out. She turns around and Pin is there. But Pin moves. Pin moves up. And then you're back to thinking, wait, okay, no, is Pin real? Am I... You're going back and forth going, hang on a minute, is he real? I don't trust my instincts here. She tries to escape. Just thought of something else we've missed.
Did we miss something?
Of something else. Now, Ursula and Leon had an argument before this scene.
Oh, did they?
And yes, and Leon, to kind of make up with her in a fake way, he brings her a milkshake. He brings Ursula a milkshake, and it's drugged.
Oh, he does, yes.
Now, the reason he drugged her is so that she wouldn't hear her aunt's screams while Pin is terrifying her.
That's right.
As the aunt is trying to escape, Leon has locked the door. Her heart starts to go. She starts to grab it. She has a heart failure, heart attack. She dies. Before the scene ends, Leon just pops his head out from behind Pin, and he's been moving Pin. So you're back to thinking, okay, so Pin isn't alive. He's just fucked in the head. But the film does such a great job of throwing you back and forth. Of,
yeah, it really does.
Is it alive? Is it not? This is what I was talking about the whole Norman Bates and mother.
Yeah. It's very... I would be surprised if this film didn't take some sort of...
There is some influence from that. There has to be.
Massively so.
And the next morning, where the police and the coroner and the ambulance and whatnot are taking away the aunt, there's an officer that's talking to Ursula, and that's where he mentions... your aunt had a bad ticker,
Yes, that was it.
Yeah. So you see the medication, but you don't know what it's for. But within 5 minutes, you then get told. So she's been taken care of. Dorothy is gone.
Dorothy is gone. It is also, I think, it's around about this point in time that Ursula is now aware that Pin is here. Yeah. She sees Pin and she goes absolutely not berserk, but she kind of loses it, and she asks him what on earth Pin is doing here, to which he replies, we have to take care of Pin, because Pin is family.
It
He's
is
part of our family.
Yeah.
And Ursula is sitting there going, no,
Yeah.
no, he's bloody not.
Now,
And
what I want to
don't know if it's,
Oh, sorry, no, you go. I'm going to finish for.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know if it's here or not. It is here, yes.
Yes,
I think it's
with the
here
skin.
Yeah,
That's what I was going to say.
If it is there, yes. It's the fact that I think Ursula at this point in time, when she hears Leon talking about Pin in this kind of way, she starts to think, oh, okay. She then starts to cotton on that there's something not quite right with Leon because of this infatuation with Pin. And she kind of goes, okay, I tell you what. Pin can stay, providing he doesn't... because he wants to have dinner. Oh, yes, it is. It's after he puts the skin...
Yeah. Let's talk about the skin for a second.
Puts the lotion in the basket.
Let's talk about that, because I had two minds then. I was like, yeah, this is even creepier now.
Yeah.
But then I thought, where the fuck did he get this? It's not even real skin.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, it's like a latex...
So he's still... the mannequin is still in the dad's suit, in a wheelchair. It's not moved. But so the hands are exposed and the head is exposed. So he's got like... They must be
gloves?
like... They're like gloves, but they're fake skin latex
it's the fact
gloves.
It's the fact he managed to get a latex
Head.
face that kind of looked like his.
Yeah. And exactly.
That's what makes it even weirder. It's the fact that it doesn't look completely like Leon, but it looks eerily close to it.
It's the uncanny valley. It's
It
the
really is.
real uncanny valley. It's so weird.
He probably called up the cable guy and got some skin off him. I guarantee that's what happened. And it's when Ursula sees I was about to say skin Pin. New Pin. I don't know. I was trying to work out what the right word
I like that. Skin pin.
Yeah. There you go. Skin Pin. That's when she goes, okay, my brother is not
okay.
well.
Okay, I'm out of here. This shit's weird.
But she goes, okay. But she kind of, you can see her that she goes, okay, he needs Pin. He's relying on Pin to keep him going.
Yeah.
So she allows him to keep Pin in the house. However, there's a really funny scene with the two of them having dinner, and he brings Pin in and he sticks him down at the head of the table. And Ursula's looking at him going, what are you doing? And he goes, well, Pin's having dinner with us. And I don't know if he tries to talk to Ursula as Pin, but she pretty much goes, look, here's the ground rules. He can stay, but he's not allowed in my bedroom, and he cannot be downstairs in the kitchen, the dining room when we're eating. And I think Leon's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
So he agrees to that, and she's like, right, fine. You can keep him, just keep him away from me. It's the dinner scene is just fantastic. It's really funny.
I've just remembered, which I just mentioned, as to when Leon drugged Ursula so that he could do the business with the aunt. The reason he drugged, the reason he had to make up with her for the argument was what you mentioned. So the aunt, Ursula and Leon, they're having dinner.
Yeah.
And this is where Ursula mentions that she got a job at the library.
Oh, yes, that was it.
And while she was at the library and getting her job, the camera shows that she's reading books about paranoid schizophrenia and all the illnesses related to it.
Yes, she is, yes.
And she's getting emotional. She's getting really emotional about it or reading it, because that, like you said, she's starting to realize what's starting to click what's going on. Yeah. Now at that dinner, when she mentions she gets a job at the library, that's when Leon fucking loses it, because he doesn't.
Yeah, he goes mad.
More outside, more social life, more outside for her. No, I'm not having that. I will control her. And then that's why he has to make up with her. Just remembered. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how she gets a job at the library. Yeah. Which we go to next.
Yes, we do. We then go to the library, where we get to meet Ursula going about her jobs. And
meet Stan.
This is where we get to meet Stan, who I've got to say is a very nice bloke. I don't know how he's actually, but he sees Ursula and he does a really cheesy like, oh, so I'm looking for a book. You know, could you point me to a book? And she's like,
his pickup lines are awful.
There's books everywhere.
Pickup lines are fucking awful. Yeah. He asks her what the time is.
Oh, yeah.
That's what the time is, and the clock is behind her.
I no, it's fantastic. But you could see that this bloke is, the lad is handsome. I can't remember who plays him, but he's a handsome John Piper Ferguson.
He's trying.
You can see he's trying, bless him. And I think he's like, well, why don't we go out on a date? And she's like, yeah, all right, fair enough. And of course, naturally, once again, this doesn't sit well with Leon.
He is not happy about it.
He finds out that Ursula's dating Stan, and there's some nice shots where we get to see Ursula and Stan going on dates, having a good time. They have dinner. They're falling in love, and you're like, okay, I think it was at this point in time I was like, is Ursula going to get around to Leon? Be like, oh, by the way, I'm leaving. And then to him, it's like, it's just me and Pin now.
Yeah.
Is that going to further decay his mind? Because it's like, no. No, you can't leave. No.
He's clearly getting more unhinged.
Oh, he is. He's really getting unhinged. And it's fascinating to watch. It's got to be said.
It is. It really is.
And the first indication of this is Leon does not trust Stan whatsoever.
No.
She absolutely does not trust him. And it gets to the point where he calls up Stan. I don't know how he gets his number, but he calls him up and says, look, why don't you come over for dinner?
Hold up. You're missing some bits. Let me get back to the notes.
This is why you have the notes, because I miss things. But I rely on my brain.
Let me just tick off the Leon gets more unhinged note.
Okay, cool.
On that bit. So, Leon, out of his frustration with what's going on with Ursula and Stan, he even says he has the needs. He has needs, right?
Oh, he does, doesn't he?
Express. So he calls up Marsha, which I think is the woman from the prom who asked him for a dance. He's coming back to. If we had this on, if we had this on video, you should have seen the realization in T's face just then.
I can't remember. I forgot that.
So,
Bugger.
Yeah, this is a big scene. So he calls up Marsha. They go on a date. They go to the cinema, and I've never seen this in the cinema. It seems very stereotypical in American creativity and say like filmmaking TV shows, but she is eating his face. Quite literally eating his face at the back of a cinema. He's watching the film with a stoic look, and she is just licking his cheeks, eating his ear, all that jazz. She's eating his face. You right there, dude? Someone's just coughing up their tea there. She's eating his face.
She really is.
Can you imagine if you were in the cinema, you turn around and just see that, and the guy is just not enjoying it. So they're going to town. He's really not into it. He's really not into it. He liked that one, folks. He liked that.
Sorry.
Hey, go back and watch that scene. You'll know I'm telling the truth.
I have to, yeah.
So they end up actually going back, even though he wasn't into it. They end up going back to the house, and she's trying, bless her. She's trying. Yeah. She gets naked. She's trying to seduce him, and he's still just not into it. And he's like, "No, I just gotta go check on Pin." The way he describes Pin is that like Pin is just a roommate. He never mentions that it's a doll.
Yeah, because doesn't she ask who Pin is? She's like, "Oh, who's?" Yeah,
just lives here. Vague description of Pin. Just lives here. As he goes downstairs, she follows, but he's got something sinister planned. Yeah. He's intentionally lured her down the stairs. He turns off the lights. She's followed him. She can't find him. And suddenly, Pin, in the wheelchair, starts chasing her around the house.
Yeah.
Now, I thought back. I clocked this here. I felt very smart here. Early on, as a young Leon, you saw him playing with a remote control car.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I bet he's jerry-rigged this with his remote control car because he's so fucking unhinged. Yeah, that's the one thing I did tweak without thinking, oh my God, Pin's moving by himself. No, this one.
That.
So she's being chased. She tries to escape at the front door, and that is where Ursula blasts through the door. In some sense, saves her. somewhat at the same time saves her, and she's like, Leon, what the fuck are you doing? And Leon's like, I
it was just a
don't even know if
joke.
he says sorry, or he just walks
No.
away in a sad face.
He just,
And
yeah,
that's-
he doesn't he walk away, but he reverses pins. The pin just like goes backwards.
Yes, goes back into the darkness, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the end of the most unsuccessful date ever.
Yeah, I mean, I would, yeah, no, that'd be a bit of a weird thing. It's like, how would your date go? Well, I chased around the house with the doll. Oh, okay, right, cool. Yeah.
Now, before,
yeah.
again, what you were mentioning about Stan on the phone call, Stan comes over for dinner one night. And he brings chocolates, intended for Ursula. But Leon is like, oh, thanks, Stan. Pin loves chocolates. And Stan's like,
I don't remember this bit.
yeah, sure. This is where Leon introduces Stan to Pin. Now, he introduces Stan to Pin and does the voice. Stan goes along with it. Stan starts talking to Pin while Leon is in the background doing Pin's voice, and he's going along with it, but in his head he's probably like, what the fuck am I doing? What have I signed up for? What is going on here? In my eyes, I don't know if I would go along with it, especially if the girl I'm dating hadn't mentioned that my brother's not mentally all there. If the girl had mentioned that, I'd be right, I will tolerate and go along with whatever just to make him happy. But the fact she hadn't mentioned it, you'd be like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you being a ventriloquist here? What are we doing here? This is just a doll. But no, he goes along with it. He goes along with it, and he just has a conversation with Pin.
He does. I can't remember what it was on because I clearly forgot the scene.
There's more to this scene.
There is. I would be of the same thing. It's if you get told by someone, it's one of those kind of things. If you're about to meet someone's family, you know, you might be dating someone. They might be like, oh, you know, just so you're aware, you know, my mother's, you know, only got one eye. So
you always give them a heads up about your family or whatnot.
Thanks for telling me, rather than turning up and like, oh my god, you've got one eye. It's like,
yeah, exactly. You give a heads up.
Shock. Yeah, but you give a heads up. It's like you're about to meet my brother. It's by the way, he's he's a bit unhinged. So whatever he talks to you as Pin,
horse,
just
you know?
accept. Yeah,
because you probably noticed that my brother was a horse. You probably noticed that. You don't want to go, oh my god, he's a horse. You go, oh, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Then you go home, you're like, oh my god. It's like, exactly. Horse, man. I just met a centaur.
After this dinner, because Leon's been very into poetry, right?
Oh, it's just poems. Oh,
this was on the level of the nurse scene.
Yeah, this is where it gets.
Stan apparently is genuinely interested in Leon's poetry, and Leon starts to read one of his poems to Stan. I don't remember it word for word, thank God.
No,
but it's subtly about him raping Ursula.
Oh yes, it was. Yeah,
and Stan clicks.
Very weird.
Yeah, he clocks this, and while Leon is out the room, I think dealing with Pin, him and Ursula, he's talking to Ursula like, what is your brother talking about? A poem about subtly raping you? What is going on? And why is he talking for this doll?
Yeah.
Your brother is not mentally unstable. Unfortunately, while they're talking, Leon kind of overhears this.
Yes, that's why he wants him back.
This is where he realizes Stan has got to go. Stan is a wedge between him and Ursula having their safe.
It's because
life.
Stan tells Ursula that Leon needs help.
Yes,
he says he has to go and find help. To Leon, he needs psychiatric help. So of course, Leon is sitting going, "Well, no, I don't need any kind of help," because Leon's thinking, "Well, this person's going to put me in a nut house," and of course, which then leads him to go right, as you just said, Stan's got to go.
It's got to go.
Which is when he then somehow gets Stan's number. I guess Ursula left it lying around, and one of those like phone diaries that our parents used to have before they invented mobiles. And so he calls up Stan and says, the black book. So he calls up Stan and says, "Look, I want you to come over, and we're going to discuss a surprise birthday party for Ursula."
Yep.
And Stan's like, "Oh yeah, cool." It's like, "Oh, I'll go meet this dude again."
He's way up for it.
Yeah, he's up for it.
He is actually way up for it. Yeah.
This would be a nice surprise. At the same time, I'd probably be like, I'm going to bring 10 of my mates. So what's your lads here for? They're just going to stand outside and listen very closely in case I need them. So basically, he turns up, and Leon says, "Right, well, would you like a drink?" Stan says, "Yeah, of course." Leon, however, spikes his drink
Yeah.
in an attempt to either knock him out or, I don't know.
Yeah, we
I'm
don't really
guessing
know
it's to
what
knock
he
him
was
out.
going to plan with him.
No.
What he was going to do with him.
However, Stan, when he starts to feel woozy, clocks, oh shit,
Yeah.
Leon's drugged me with something. So he fights back, and they have like a little mini
They have
fight.
a tussle, yeah.
They have a tussle, which ends with Leon grabbing a whocking huge wooden sculpture-y thing, and he smacks the living crap out of Stan.
Caves his head in.
It does. It clocks him, and Stan is out. He's done.
While they're having a tussle, you will notice that Stan's watch is flung off.
Oh,
now,
yes.
the watch is a present that Ursula bought him earlier on. Not too much earlier on in the film, just a little bit earlier, not long after they met.
It's like a little gift thing, wasn't it?
It's like a Casio watch, and that's very prominently focused on as it flinging off, which we later find out why. So yeah, he is dead on the floor, and Leon is freaking out. Like, oh, what did I do? What did I do? Pin, why did you make me do this?
Yeah.
And Pin's like, I never said kill him, Leon.
Yeah. Which is really interesting because it kind of harkens back to the early conversation that they have about the aunt, which is, well, she has to go.
Never said kill.
Never says kill, but to Leon, it's like, cool, they just gotta die. And I think that's a really cleverly subtle throwback to the parents, because to Leon, it's like, my parents tried to take Pin, and what happened? They died. The aunt's here to try and take away my sister. What's got to happen? She got to die. Stan's trying to get rid of me. He's got to die.
Gotta go.
So even though Pin's like, well, they've got to go, Stan's like, Leon's like, cool, they've just got to die.
Yeah.
Which I think is clever, because this is kind of a turning point for Leon's kind of mental state. Because up to now, Pin and Leon have always agreed on it.
Yeah.
They've always been in sync. But at this point, when Pin goes, I never told you to kill him, it's the first time that you're kind of like, that's a different... If that's Leon talking as Pin, why on earth would he say he didn't have to die?
His voice in his head is having a different opinion to his own consciousness.
Which is great. Well, it's not great. Have voices in your head. That's probably not a good thing.
It's great viewing.
But it's great viewing because you're like, oh, it's like, has it got to a point now where it is Leon and Pin?
Yeah.
It's not just Leon. The Pin personality is sitting there going, yeah, by the way, I'm actually real, and I've now got a different opinion to you. And you can kind of see Leon's like, oh, okay. Yeah, cool. So I've killed him. Right, okay. And Pin's like, right, well, now you've killed him. We have to hide him. Killed him.
You did it, not me.
You killed him. I will help you to clean up your mess.
Yeah.
And Leon's like, yes, please do. And basically he says, right, put him in a bag, throw him in the river, and, get rid of the body.
Yeah.
However, he gets him in a bag, but before he can get rid of him, Ursula calls home and says, look, oh, no, sorry. It skips to a scene in the library where we get to meet the library manager.
Yeah.
And she's having a nice chat with Ursula.
Lovely little old lady.
She's a lovely old lady. I think they're having a chat about Stan, and she's asking about it, and Ursula's like, I'm very much in love and all thing. I'd like to go, on a date or something. And the manager's like, well, I'll tell you what, finish this and just go. Take the day off.
Early. Yep.
Go home, go out with Stan, and you know what? Just go and enjoy your youthful years whilst you can. Go and do it. And Ursula's like, okay, yeah, cool. The thing is, she does it really slowly. She's like, oh, book away. I'll be like, fucking hammering the books away. I'm like, come on, let's get out of here as quickly as we can. Which is, then we skip back. We skip back to the house. And Ursula calls home and says to Leon, oh, I'm coming home right now. I'm on my way.
And he's like, no.
Leon freaks out at this point because it's like, crap. And I'm guessing he's not going to have enough time to get Leon to the river.
Nope.
So which kind of suggests that the library is very close to the house. something within maybe 10 minutes. So it's like, I do not have time to get rid of this.
Yeah, they
So
look
what he
like they're
does-
in the countryside, but they must be in just maybe a small town.
Yeah. Because at this point in time, if he had more time, he would be able to get rid of the body
Yeah.
and clean up the blood, which is on the carpet.
Yep.
However, he then realizes, I don't have time to do the two of them. So he shoves Stan outside in the woodpile, and he gets to clean the blood up because he's like, this is all I've got time for.
Pin tells him to do that.
Yeah.
Pin tells him to put him in the woodpile.
Yeah. Once again, the Pin personality is asserting itself as a separate entity,
Yeah.
telling Leon to, whilst Pin is kind of just sitting there in his wheelchair, like, yeah, come on now, get to it. I can't do it. You have to do it. Oh, I really like that bit where, again, at this point, it's like, is Pin alive? Because this is kind of suggesting that Pin is talking to him.
Yeah, it's a different of opinion now.
A different opinion. So it's like, oh, okay. Are we? It's great because this flips between a psychological thriller, but then it's like, oh no, actually, Pin's alive. It's paranormal. It's like, oh no, but it's Leon. But oh, actually, no, is it
exactly what I'm saying? It flips so many times and fucks with your guessing of what's really going on.
Yeah.
Until the very last scene, really, of the film. Until you're really, or that is what's happening. That is what's happening. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Which we're actually, to be fair, we're getting pretty close to now.
We are getting close, actually. Yeah. So, Stan, he's gone.
Bludgeoned. Yep,
he had to go. Apparently,
according
he's
to Leon
in the woodpile, and as Ursula comes back, Leon is chopping wood in a very distressed manner. He's and Ursula's like, "Are you okay?" So yeah, I think he says, "I just did like a workout, or I was just exercising or something."
He said something really weird. It's like, "Yeah, I just worked out," and Ursula's like, "All right."
And he's very prominently, the camera's focused on the axe that he's using, so you're like, okay, this is going to come into picture. This is going to come into use soon. Okay. I believe it's at this point when she goes in the house, she finds the watch.
No,
is it not at this point she finds the watch?
She's upset for some reason. I don't know why.
Let me check my notes.
Oh, I think it's because she can't. Oh, yes, because she can't get hold of Stan.
Yeah.
So she couldn't get hold of him. She tries to call Stan, and
That's right. Yeah.
Get through. I think she even visits his apartment, and he's not there.
Yep.
So she doesn't know where he's gone.
Yeah.
Which is when Leon tells her that Stan. Oh, he spoke to Stan earlier. And Stan said, I'm going out of town. I have to leave to visit a friend who's sick. So I just have to go. Tell Ursula I've just gone out of town for a while. That's when she believes him until she sees the watch.
The watch.
Which indicates that Stan was in the house.
She
also notices the wet spot that he cleaned.
Yeah.
That's what she notices. So this is kind of the bit where Ursula kind of unleashes the double barrels on him, because this is the point where she's like, okay, Leon is cracked. I can't coddle him anymore.
Yeah.
He has to understand what is going on. So she confronts Leon and says, right, Stan was here. Where is Stan? Because that's his watch. Leon simply stands there and goes, it was all Pin's fault. He's the one that did it.
He's putting it on the Pin.
Yeah. And it's great because it's that difference of opinion again. Yeah. It's Leon at this point in time actually going, it's not me, it's this other thing, this other creature that's alive, not creature, this other creature that's alive that's doing it. And of course, naturally, Ursula's like, oh shit, he has actually gone full mental.
Yeah. So
she legs it out the house. And Leon turns to Pin and says, why on earth will you not help me? And this is a really, really interesting kind of response that Pin has, where he simply looks at Leon and goes, I have never lied to you before.
Yeah.
And I never will. And it's fantastic because I think the exact words are, I've never lied to you or for you, and I can't lie because we don't know how to lie. Which is great because it's weird. It's like, is that the Pin personality telling Leon, I don't know how to lie because I can't lie because you are me? Or is it Leon
It's a mind
telling
fuck.
Pin to tell him, it's like,
Yeah.
I can't lie for you because if I do, then I'm just telling myself what I know is not true. And you're like, oh my, you get to see inside this lad's brain, which is...
It's melting. It's been melting for the
yeah.
last half hour, his brain, like throughout the film.
It's so cool to see.
It's
This
the slow
breakdown.
of this guy's brain just becoming
Yeah.
two people. Like you said, where the part where Pin finally has a difference of opinion, that's where like his brain is split even more into two people.
Yeah.
And like,
I think it's before Ursula runs out. I think she tells him. I think it's at this point she literally turns around. It's when he blames Pin just before they have this lying argument, and he says it's Pin. She turns around and says Pin is not real.
Yeah.
Pin, it's ventriloquism. She tells him it's ventriloquism. She says all the times that the doctors, it was the father doing the voice.
Yeah.
And that's when she runs out. And of course, that's when Leon is like, no, he's real, isn't he? And I think even Leon is kind of sitting there going,
is he?
He is real. You are real.
It's sad. It's sad because it's just
it really is
the breakdown of this guy. Basically because of everything his father did with them as a kid
And
with
his
the doll and his mother. It's all because of that, their childhood trauma with this doll and their parents.
Yeah.
And look what's happened to him.
Right now, Ursula is about to come running back through this door. But it's Leon at this point in time he's got nothing left. He's lost. He's
on his knees talking to Pin.
He's on his knees talking to Pin. I would say he's lost his parents, but I don't think he really cares. He doesn't care that the aunt's gone. He doesn't care that Stan's gone. He's broken that he's lost his sister.
Yeah.
And he's realizing that Pin is not as much of a friend as he thought he was. And he sits there and he goes, well, you know what? All of this is my sister's fault. It's Ursula's fault.
You gotta
She's
go.
The reason you gotta go, sis.
You gotta go.
Everything is Ursula's fault. And Pin simply looks at him and goes, you're lying again. And you could just see Leon sitting there going, am I really telling myself this? Or is Pin telling me this? I just love the fact that at this point in time, it's, for me anyway, I was sitting there going, I'm no longer watching Leon playing Pin. I'm actually watching Leon talking to Pin. And
that's what
Pin
I mean.
is sitting there going, I'm now talking to you back.
Yeah.
Stop lying.
That's what I mean. His brain is split now into two actual characters.
It's
differences
a massive
of opinions. Yeah.
Personality. I think there's a term for it. It's like dissociative personality disorder, DPD or something.
Okay.
It's where you have two distinct personalities and they have a chat. I think that's the right terminology. However, he doesn't really have time to get into the whys and wherefores with Pin because Ursula comes in Conan style with this gigantic axe thing from outside.
It's so big.
It is. It's huge. She lets out this barbaric scream.
Yeah.
As she goes to swing this axe.
And it cuts.
It cuts as you hear Leon scream.
Yeah.
It cuts as he screams and he goes to shield his face.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
It's not the end of the film, by the way. It's such a great end to this.
It's
this bit.
shot in slow motion, in like a more dramatic slow motion. The shot as her running in with the axe.
Wasn't it?
It's shot just a couple of frames slower, like, and then it fades to white. And the next scene is outside the house. Police cars, people and her in the back of a police car, and the police searching the wood pile. And they find Stan.
Yeah, they do.
And when they find him, he's alive. Somehow Stan is still alive. So Leon didn't finish the job. Thick skull, and Leon didn't finish the job properly. And she sees this and she's excited. She's so happy. She tries to get she gets out of the police car, and we then fade to the final scene. Yeah.
Back at the house.
But Stan and Ursula, they're in the car. They arrive back at the house. They clearly don't live there anymore. I don't believe.
No, I think it's implied.
It's a little bit further on.
It's a little bit further in time. We don't.
Yeah.
Stan's obviously recovered. I don't know how much time has passed, but enough time has passed that he's recovered from nearly having his skull caved in.
Yeah. And
Which,
as they arrive at the house, she enters. She goes upstairs. She looks like she's just sort of remembering the good times, hey, the good times of her parents.
These great times.
And then she goes upstairs. A woman sort of just appears and just gives her a little, just a little fright.
Yeah.
And it's not really implied what she is, but you kind of gather. You can see she looks like a carer.
Yeah.
And she is looking after Leon. Or is she?
Yeah.
Question mark. Big question mark.
Da, 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 da.
Because the camera then pans to a pin. I just said pins, didn't I?
Yep.
The camera pans to a figure in the wheelchair, in a suit, a male suit, in the window. And then we get the shot, the front shot of this person, and it is Leon, but looks like a doll.
No.
Is it Pin? Wait, what?
No, you've missed a bit.
What did I miss? Go on.
So basically, Ursula enters the room first.
Yeah.
At which point, Pin talks to Ursula.
Oh, you're right. Yes, there is conversation.
So
yeah.
We hear Pin talking to Ursula, and she asks how it was, and Ursula tells him that she's leaving. So her and Stan are going away.
It. Yeah.
Pin then turns around to her and says, "Oh, well, have you heard from Leon yet?" To which Ursula says, "No, I haven't heard from Leon." Pin says, "Oh, that's a shame because I miss him," Ursula agrees, and then it pans to that shot in the window.
So Leon is fully Pin now. Leon has become Pin, a static, just doll figure, and
it's
the
kind
shot
of like locked in syndrome.
Yeah, and the frontal shot of Leon / Pin. There's makeup on him, and it looks like a clean mannequin. It looks like like a pastel sort of skin color. There's no blemishes on his face. It looks like a mannequin.
Yeah, he's had something done to him. He very much is a. Oh, I'm looking at pictures now. It's creepy as balls.
And this is what goes full circle round to the very first scene of the film, of the four kids looking at the figure in the window. And I thought that was great. I thought that was a brilliant way to do it.
It's a fantastic way to. Yeah.
It was sad. It is sad
Oh,
because there's no happy end to this film, but there is for Ursula, but it's the complete breakdown of one man, this film. Of Leon.
It's actually you're kind of watching the entire life story of Leon in this film. So obviously we don't get to see Leon born, but we see him very early in his childhood, and we get to see him grow up, and we see the progression of his mental illness as it's implied that when Ursula swings the axe, Ursula actually effectively breaks apart Pin.
Yeah, she destroys Pin, yeah.
So she destroys Pin, at which point Leon finally snaps. His brain goes, and he becomes
the new Pin. The new Pin.
The new Pin. But in that moment where Ursula destroys the doll, Leon dies because Leon's no more.
Yep.
Leon, we witness Leon's entire life up to the point he dies in that room.
Yeah.
Which, of course, I see when the police are outside the house, I was like, holy crap, she killed Leon.
That's what I thought. Because she's in the back of the police car, so I figured, that she was arrested and put in the back. Yeah.
Because obviously to her, it's like, if I kill Leon, it's over.
Mm.
But it's only later on you're like, well, she destroyed Pin, but effectively she's killed her brother at the same time.
It's fascinating. It really is a fascinating take. It's just such a sad slow mental breakdown of this one person.
It's a very well done representation of, like we said, things like schizophrenia, dissociative personality disorder, just mental illnesses as a whole, which for a 1988 film, probably wasn't seen so much, especially in horror films.
You get mental illness topics back then.
Yeah. There was kind of that thing, it's like, we don't really want to talk about it.
Bit taboo.
Yeah. Whereas now, obviously now we're a lot more open about these things.
Yes.
And after I watched this film, I sat there and I think I sent you the message, and I was like, it's a great metaphor for a mental illness, especially one as bad as this. Yeah. And it was just so good.
Yeah, you made a really good pick here, and I'm really glad we did this as an episode because like we said at the beginning, I had never heard of this film. You had never heard of this film.
No.
It's not an indie film. I don't think a lot of people, I mean, maybe the most hardcore horror fans in the world would have done, but still some big horror fans, I think, would have slipped under the radar. And I'd recommend this to people. And I would say to people, yes, it's a horror film, but don't go in it thinking you're going to be scared. Go in it thinking of the psychological horror aspect.
You're not going to be scared. I think apart from the bit where Stan has his head slightly caved in, that's the only bit of violence. Well, not violence, bit of gore that you actually get in this film. And even then, it's not that much.
No, there's hardly any blood in this film whatsoever.
Yeah. I'm just looking up the film is actually based on the film version was written by Sandor Stern. However, it's based on a book called Pin by a guy called Andrew Niederman. And I've just looked this up. It's really interesting because he was also the author for The Devil's Advocate, which then starred Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. And Al Pacino. He's done... Wow, he's done loads of things. So if this was a novel before the movie, I wonder if the novel is any different. Because a lot of the cases without novels, but especially with novels and horror film adaptations, Shining is the most obvious example. It's completely different to the book. So I wonder if this is much different to the book, or the book is more elaborate. The book has so much more detail, maybe.
I reckon it is. I reckon it fully go. I mean, I wonder if they cut out a lot of stuff from the book.
I would agree. Probably.
Especially considering this is only about an hour and a half. Well, it's just under. I think it's an hour 48. It's 140. So I reckon they probably cut down quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah.
I'd love to read the book. I think that might be quite interesting.
I think it'd be fascinating. And to me, this is a recommendation. This one. Oh
yeah.
So highly recommend. It's free on if you have Amazon Prime. It's free on Amazon Prime right now. Well, it's not free because you're already paying for Amazon Prime. But if
you have Amazon
Prime,
you can watch it.
And it will probably be on YouTube. To be fair, you'll be able to find YouTube. But highly recommend checking out Pin. I really would check it out. Are
there any trivias that we can have?
Yeah. What we got?
There's no goofs though. Oh, that's interesting. There's no goofs. There's not really any trivia stuff actually either. Actually, that is quite interesting. So when Leon and Marcia are going to see a film, and Marcia's more interested in sticking her tongue down his ear.
Yeah.
The film they see is Scanners, which was released in 1981.
Yeah, I was wondering what the film was.
It's great because David Hewlett then went on to star in Scanners 2 in 1991. So there you go. Little did he know that literally a few years later he'd be in that film, the sequel.
I've never seen Scanners 2. I've seen Scanners. Scanners is brilliant.
I think I've
seen Scanners. I've never seen Scanners 2. Scanners has probably the best head explosion ever.
Oh my god, I've never seen Scanners.
Well, that's getting added to our episode lists in the future because it has the best head explosion ever.
Michael Ironside, damn.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'll have to watch Scanners.
Well, Pin was great. I think it was really, really.
A pure fluke chance. It popped up my. Would you like to watch this? And I went, yeah, all right.
That's a good fluke chance. So well done, you. Well done to you. Well done to you, sir.
Thank you. I will take that. Thank you.
So again, we'll get onto X soon. Ty West's new horror film X. We'll get onto that probably within the next month or so. But next time we're going back to. Next episode 11, we'll be going back to a slasher versus slasher episode.
Yes.
Which are good fun. The last one was Ghostface versus Leatherface, which I think Leatherface won in our rounds.
Yes.
In our discussion.
Yes. Just. The next one, well, it depends, because obviously we know who one of the slashers is. I don't know if we want to give it away. We know who one of them is.
let's give the main one away because of what we're doing the episode after, which we could probably
That's
also
true.
say. So,
Well, obviously, my because he is my slasher of choice,
you just heard
we
he's
will be
his boy.
covering. He is my boy. Of course, our good friend Jason Voorhees will be making his first appearance in Slasher versus Slasher. Obviously, don't know who we're gonna have fight him. I think we have you're turning that knife around in your hand. Something.
It's just something to play with. Just something to play with.
I just noticed. I'm like, oh, he's really getting into this. Like, oh,
It was up here to open a load of boxes when I moved in. That was all.
There we go.
In fact, I got another one actually. I got two.
I have a pen. There you go.
We have a contender for the other slasher, but we haven't signed off on it yet.
I'm gonna take a look at a few slashers because I think the other one that we might go with, I think that'd be best kept for later in this year because
I think you're right.
The film that comes out.
I think you're right. Yeah. So we'll talk about that off camera.
Yeah, we'll talk about it off camera. But yeah, Slasher versus Slasher will be out next time, and then we're, of course, because we have actually got a Friday the 13th coming up in May.
Indeed.
We're going to be going back to the Friday the 13th part 1. We're going to do part 1.
I think we got to start with 1.
We'll start with 1, and of course, naturally, we'll do what we did with the Scream franchise. We'll go take a look at the films. Might have to
That's going to take a while.
Might have to do a couple of episodes.
That's going to take a couple of episodes, yeah. That's going to take a whole episode for Jason X alone.
Yeah, I know. We'll probably finish at Jason X because obviously then after that it's a reboot, and then I don't think we want to cover Freddy versus Jason because it was not that good.
No, I mean it is technically canon. I believe.
I did watch.
I believe.
Yeah, technically, but it's set before I think.
Well, it's obviously before Jason X. Jason X is the. Jason X is the end of the timeline.
Yeah. I did watch a film last night called Choose or Die, which is on Netflix, which stars the voice of Robert Englund. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was interesting. It was an interesting take on, like, you know, the old analog horror games. We had to type the adventures. Oh,
I brain fart. I live on camera.
Oh, okay.
Hear me out, folks. Hear me out, and let's see what T thinks. Right.
Okay.
We need a slasher, right?
Yeah.
What film did you just say?
Oh, Freddy versus Jason.
Why don't we do Freddy versus Jason, but not the film?
Just do Freddy versus
Slasher
Jason.
versus Slasher.
Oh,
Slasher versus Slasher. Not the film.
Okay.
And then after Friday the 13th, we could do. Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's do that then. Oh, all right.
There we go, folks. There's the next.
There we go.
3 episodes.
Slasher versus Slasher. Freddy. So the next episode will be Freddy versus Jason.
But not the film Freddy versus Jason. Jason.
No.
Not the film. The comparison of the slashers.
And obviously this is their first appearance one, so we won't go too far into the franchises. Otherwise, the two of them get way too many paranormal powers that honestly we can't. We'll just make it stupid.
Yeah.
So it'll be first appearances, and then Friday the 13th, then a retrospective look at the Friday the 13th, and then Nightmare on Elm Street. We'll throw in some.
And then whatever happens.
Yeah, I think we'll try and review some video game horror stuff, but I think to be fair, we got to really plan that because that might take a bit of time.
That takes a lot more time than watching an hour and a half film.
Yeah, because we then actually have to play them.
Yeah, but that's a good rundown for an upcoming load of episodes.
Oh yeah, I think it is. I think we got a nice plan.
I need to do my research with.
Oh, okay.
This. The
I'm
Bible.
So jealous you have that. I need to get my copy of that.
Look at the size of it.
It's huge. The cover is so nice. Oh, that look like Jason X.
Folks, what I am showing on camera to T, I brought it up a couple of times. It is the complete history of Friday the 13th. It's basically a Bible. It is massive. It's about 1.5 inches thick. It's bigger than A4. It's called Crystal Lake Memories. I think it's about 30 quid on Amazon. I highly recommend it. Sorry, 35 pounds. I can't recommend it any more than. So let's look at the back, right? The blurb on the back, just before we leave, you folks. Over 300 pages, 600 photos, 200 interviews, storyboards, concept art, forward by Sean Cunningham. It's everything. Everything Friday the 13th. And it's incredible.
There's also a Blu-ray to go with it.
There is indeed. I didn't get
just
the Blu-ray.
noticed that. There's a book and the Blu-ray. Oh, I might have to. I can get it tomorrow.
Oh my god!
I know what I'm doing tonight. Buying stuff when I shouldn't be.
So we will be just I think we've got a pretty good vast knowledge of Jason and the Friday the 13th films. So we'll just do a little bit more.
A little bit more. Take some notes.
Yeah.
Go back and work out what our categories were because I can't remember now.
Yeah, I can't remember either. And we'll come back next time with a slasher versus slasher.
Yes.
So let's get the hell out of here. But before we do that, where can they find you on the interwebs?
They can find me on the interwebs, or they can find me on Twitch, on Instagram, Tainted Souls. That's what we're going to search for. You can find me on TikTok now.
Oh, he's on TikTok. You're doing the TikTok. Now. I'm doing the Instagram.
Yep, I'm doing the TikTok. I'll set up a Dreadcast TikTok, and we'll promote that. Just search for Tainted Souls. You can follow me for loads of like creepy TikTok videos and things. Same as Instagram and Twitter. That's where you can find me there. YouTube as well, Tainted Souls. Just look for the ghost, and you'll find me. Yeah.
Here we go. And myself on YouTube and Twitch at Gaming Grindhouse, on Twitter at Tom Grindhouse, and now the official Dreadcast Instagram, which is _Dreadcast. Do go follow that for news about upcoming episodes, talking just random horror shit, just a fun horror Instagram page. So go check that out. And the podcast itself, The Dreadcast. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, YouTube at our selected channels, but you can just search The Dreadcast on YouTube. And Amazon and Audible, all by searching The Dreadcast. Links will be everywhere. I don't know why I'm saying link. Yeah, just go find it. It's there.
You'll find us.
Do we have to plug anything else? We can plug the email, but no one's really gonna. What's the email?
We'll just. The email is
go on, do it.
The Dreadcastpodcast at gmail.com. It'll be in the links in the YouTube stuff.
It'll be in there. Send us some horror questions. Come on, we want
some horror questions. Let us know what you thought of Pin.
If you
after you've seen it, obviously.
Yeah.
Let us know, or let us know your thoughts on who you might think might win Freddy versus Jason first appearances. That'd be interesting to find out. That will not in any way affect our decision making.
No, it will not.
Will not hinder.
We will not take sides here.
No, we will not. As much as I love Jason, and I probably will be wearing my Jason Voorhees jumper next time.
I will get the figure out.
Oh, I've got the two Mezcos ready to go. They're ready to come out.
There we go.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, we still haven't figured out how to end the podcast, have we?
I was coming up with ideas for earlier.
Oh, go for it.
So, until next time, stay creepy, viewers. Mm-hmm.
Stay creepy, yeah?
Yeah.
Stay creepy.
Yeah, stay creepy.
I'll end with the knife cutting.
Yeah, just do that.